What's going on, Dolph fans? It is your boy Dillon, and I am back with another one of my scouting report videos for one of our upcoming opponents. This one is going to be for the New York Giants. We don't play them until week 13, but as you know, until they come off our schedule, I will be doing a scouting report video for them every single week to keep up with them, to see how they're doing, see how they progress, see where they're, where they stand in the league standings, etc., etc., etc. So, and they actually, this Thursday, they are going to be playing a game on Thursday against the Washington football team, which I'm actually thinking I might do a live stream reaction for, potentially. I haven't decided that quite yet, but I might. So there is that. But if not, either way, then I will be doing another scouting report video after that game to update, my evaluation and their league standings, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is honestly not going to be a very big one. Although, real quick before I do, there is one bit of unfortunate Dolphins news that, a little bit more specific to the Dolphins news, that I do want to let you guys know about. And it's unfortunately injury related. And so here we go. Multiple places are reporting this, but this particular article comes from Pro Football Talk. Dolphins place Raekwon Davis on injured reserve. Miami will be without one of its starting defensive tackles for at least 3 weeks. The Dolphins announced on Tuesday that they placed Raekwon Davis on injured reserve. Davis suffered a knee injury during the Week 1 contest against the Patriots. Second-year player out of Alabama, Davis appeared in all 16 games. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Fellow defensive lineman John Jenkins received the bulk of Davis's snaps in Week 1 after he came out. So yeah, unfortunately, that is a pretty huge deal. Now, hopefully he is going to be all right and will be able to come back after that. But again, as you guys know, one of my biggest concerns for this Dolphins team this season has been injuries already in such an early portion of the season, in training camp and, just through Week 1 now. And this doesn't help the matter. So, but hopefully he's going to be able to come back. It just sucks because obviously our run defense is not particularly great, and losing, after the first week, and there are some serious concerns there still. So, losing him is a pretty big deal. And so 3 weeks, that means Buffalo, Vegas, and Indianapolis. And against those three teams, man, that could be none of them are like super heavy run teams. But the thing is if they have an effective run game, then it opens up their passing offense too, right? So, it is a concern. Anyway, let's get into the Giants scouting report, though. And I say it's going to be quick because it's just basically this. I'm going to give you the stats and their league standings and stuff to add further context to it. But I got to keep it real, man. Like, the Giants, there's nothing about them really scares me, if I'm just keeping it honest. And this should be a game that not only do the Dolphins win, but they actually should even be able to win it by, a decent margin, maybe even by double digits, 10, 14 points, something like that. Now, obviously, of course, Week 13 is a long ways away, so we have to wait and see how things play out. And look, they do have some decent wide receivers. Daniel Jones can extend plays and he can use his legs, but I'm not overly, concerned with him. And there's definitely going to be opportunities against their offensive line, when it comes to like pass rush and stuff like that. So, I'm not really, and they had, in this past game, they had some drops, they had some issues, miscommunications. They have some weapons and stuff, but I'm really not overly concerned with them. And their defense, while it's true that our offensive line also has their issues, their defense doesn't exactly scare me either. So, again, like I said, that's still a long ways away. We don't know how injuries are going to be for both teams by that point, right? Let alone other things. So we'll see. But like I said, that's definitely a game that I have as a win, and it should be a really solid win. Obviously, too, they have Saquon Barkley, and I mean, he looks good, and he's a threat, certainly. when healthy, and we do have at least right now an issue with our run defense. So there is that, and there is potential opportunities that the Giants could have against us, but like I said, they don't really scare me, so I'm not overly worried about it, and it should be a Dolphins win, potentially even a good, margin of victory. So let's get into some of these details, though, because I do want to wrap this up. There is really not much to say. They did obviously lose their first game, 27-13, and it obviously, or not obviously, but honestly is what I was going to say. Honestly, it wasn't even that close. Like, it was 27-7 until literally the last second of the game, and they were on, like, the Broncos 4-yard line. Daniel Jones ends up running it in. They didn't even kick the extra point because, the game was over. Like, zeros were on the board. They didn't even bother, whatever. But it really wasn't even that close. I mean, the Broncos pretty much had their way with them all day. So real quick, let's just go ahead and I will give you these statistics again. And I actually should have had this pulled up already since I know that this is an issue. But for some reason, it doesn't like to show the team statistics when I go over here. So I'm going to real quick pull it up on my phone, so that way I can tell you what the overall team statistics were. But for the Giants, and I'm going to give you the Broncos too, just so you can have an idea of what they did defensively. But it wasn't a very good game for the Giants. So here we go. Team statistics. The Giants had 314 total yards. They gave up 420 to the Broncos. Okay. They had 254 passing yards. They gave up 255 to the Broncos. The Giants had only 60 rushing yards, right? So they weren't very effective in their run game, but they gave up 165. They had 5.3 yards per play, which wasn't too bad, but they gave up 6.4. Both teams ended up losing a fumble. Neither team threw an interception. The Giants were 50% on third downs, though, which is a good number. They gave up 46, so obviously their defense would want to give up lower than that. But they only had the ball for 24 minutes and 52 seconds, whereas the Broncos had it for 35 minutes and 8 seconds. Giants had 4 penalties. Denver had 5. As you can see here, real quick, again, just for defensive purposes, the Broncos gave up, Teddy Bridgewater had 28 for 36, 264, 2 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon, 11 for 101 and 1 touchdown with a 9.2. Javonte Williams, by the way, looked really good for his first debut. It's not super impressive, but his running, if you watched the game, or highlights or whatever from that game of Javonte Williams, he had really impressive running, good patience, good vision, good effort, was physical, right? So anyway, but 14 for 45, 3.2, and then Teddy Bridgewater threw in 3 for 19, 6.3. Moving along, Jerry Jeudy was 6 of 7, 72. Noah Fant, 6 of 8, 62. KJ Hamler, 3 of 4, 41. So they, were obviously spreading it around pretty well. Tim Patrick, 4 of 4, 39 and a score. Melvin Gordon, 3 of 3, 17. Albert, I'm not going to say his last name because I don't have any idea what it's going to be. 3 of 3 for 16 and a score. Cortland Sutton, 1 for 3, 14. And then just real quick, I'll just go down here so you can kind of just see for yourself. I'm not going to go through all these stats, but you can pause the video if you like. Okay, so now we are going to skip over to the Giants so you can see how they fared. And Daniel Jones was 22 for 37, 267 and a touchdown. He also ended up being the leading rusher with 6 attempts, 27 yards and a touchdown and a 4.5 average. Saquon Barkley, 10 rushes, 26 yards, 2.6. Devontae Booker added a little. Sterling Shepard. And look, so they do have some solid wide receivers, but, I mean, again, nothing that I'm, like, even really all that scared, over. They're solid, but they're not going to be world beaters. Sterling Shepard, 7 of 9, 113 and a touchdown. Darius Slayton, 3 of 7, 65. Kenny Golladay, 4 of 6 for 64. And then, obviously, after that, you can see there was a pretty substantial drop-off there. Anyway, real quick, I will just slowly skim through or drop down here, so if you guys care about these other stats, you can take a quick peek at them. And like I said, if you want to, go ahead and pause the video for a deeper look, go ahead and do that. Okay, so I am going to swap over though, because there is one other thing that I want to show you guys, their league standings. I put this together, as you saw probably in the last video I did, the scouting report video. So this one is for the New York Giants, as you can see here. All stats are in a per game format, as I mentioned. And so for their offense, in total offense, this is yards per game. They were 24th, just after week 1, obviously, right? And so this is, at this point, this is definitely with all the teams having been, played. That includes last night's Monday Night Football. They are getting ready to play again on Thursday, the Giants. So I will do this again after that. But they were 24th after week 1. 17 in passing yards, 29th in rushing, 29th in scoring. Total defense in yards per game for the one game is 23rd. Let's see. And then passing, they are 15th, rushing 29th, scoring 19th. And real quick, just a little added context again for these bottom ones. Now, of course, especially right now, early on in the season, there's going to be a bunch of teams that are clustered together with, like for interceptions, for example, a bunch of teams have 0, a bunch of teams have 1, a bunch of teams have 2, right? So it just kind of depends on where they fall on these lists, and I've been using the ESPN and CBS, both of them, their lists for team leaders and stuff. Obviously, it's week 1. It'll shape up and get a little more definitive as the season goes on. But for now, they fell as 16th on the list for takeaways, 26th for interceptions, 12th for fumbles, 20th for sacks, and 14th for passes defensed. Just real quick, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to pop it up here real quick so you can see what the Dolphins were. It hasn't changed because no new games have been played. So that's what the Dolphins sit at currently in their league standings, our league standings. So, all right, guys, with that, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up and get out of here because that's all I got. It wasn't really a lot to talk about, and that is my scouting video for the Giants. Again, I have that as a win on our schedule, and it should even be to the point where we can probably get a double-digit win, a decent-sized margin, especially, too, because that is also a home game for us. So, yeah, all right, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And, of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.